Oh. You know, they say with great difficulty, if you have opposition, it's a siman that the potential energy is very, very great also. Be that as it may, Boker Tov, Rabotai, we're here on this wonderful Wednesday morning. We are today studying a very holy book, a very elevated book, a very special sefer written by a holy tzaddik, the Rabbi. His book was called the Netivot Shalom. Netivot Shalom, I remember about 12 years ago, I called a certain rabbi in a certain community and I asked him, Rabbi, I want to learn a sefer for Yirat Shamayim. Maybe you'll recommend me something. So there was like a moment of pause, and about a minute later, he told me learn Netivot Shalom. Netivot Shalom has a lot of musar, derech eretz, hashkafa, Yirat Shamayim. Okay, we don't see it. Now, the parasha is Parashat Noach. Boker Tov, Rabotai. So the Torah writes, Noach was an ish tzaddik, tamim haya bedorotav. He was righteous, and he was wholesome. He was full, he was complete in the ways of God. And with God, Noach went. Now, says the Netivot Shalom, why does the Torah have to give us this whole delineation of who Noach was? Why do we have to get into all these little details? He says, and if you want to tell me that it's to show us why Noach had zechut to survive, you already told me this in last week's parasha. Last week's parasha, the Torah writes, "V'Noach matza chen b'einei Adonai." Noach found favor in the eyes of God. So why this week it has to tell us Noach is a tzaddik, he's a tamim, all this information, says the rabbi is extra. Another thing, he says, we don't find by anyone else that the Torah calls them a tzaddik on such a caliber, such a level, on such a level, Moshe. Says the Netivot Shalom in the name of the Zohar HaKadosh. You want to know Noach, what sphira is Noach connected to? Every person connects himself to one of 7, let's call it lower faculties, that his Avodat Hashem stems from there and he connects to that area very, very much. So if I had to ask you, where does Noach connect to? Says the Zohar, Noach connects to the Midah of Yesod. Yesod is the Midah of Yosef. This is Noach's shoresh, his connection. Like the Pasuk writes, Noach was a tzaddik. Tzaddik is the Midah of Yesod. If you look into the Sidur, when it says Tzaddik Adonai b'chol derachav, v'chazir b'chol ma'asav, over there, what do you see? You see the Shem, the name of God, with a shuruk. Yes? With a U sound over there. Why? Because that's the letters for Yesod. But let's go a little back. Says the Rabbi, in the days of Noach, in the days of the Maul, their sin was specifically in the sin of the Brit Milah. That the Brit Milah in their days was very corrupt, like the Torah writes clearly, Ki hishchit kol basar et darko al haaretz. All flesh damaged his flesh, al haaretz, on the ground. Люди не были осторожны со своей святостью. Святость человека — это его Брит Мила, это его мысли. И во время Ноаха это не было. Только один мужчина, one man, was able to overcome, and one man was able to keep himself pure and elevated. This was Noach. That's why the Torah goes out of its way to say Noach was a tzaddik. Tzaddik is a person who's what? Who's an elevated, spiritual, kadosh, holy person with a Brit Kodesh. No. Noach was born, circumcised.
So why Hashem punished them if there was no problem?
Wasting seed.
Let's say. It's a good question. Now says the Bet Abraham, you want to know where the pigam of the Mabul began? I was shocked when I saw this, but I needed to see this. The pigam, the damage of the door of the generation of the Mabul, was in their eyes. He says it began with their eyes, with histakluyot asurot. How appropriate, we're speaking about this. Every week, whatever parasha you have, you're going to go through those challenges in that week. So this week, and I was looking at something on YouTube, some rabbi lecture, then some pop-up came out with some presidential election. So I said, let me see. So one of my family members went to Madison Square Garden, yes, for some Trump, I don't even know what.
Support.
So it came up on my feed of YouTube. I clicked on it. Click. Boom. Before I knew it, I was spending 15 minutes over there just fast forwarding. This is 6 hours long. 2 minutes here, 1 minute here, 2 minutes here, 1 minute here. And the point is that there's a lot of things that your eyes pick up that's just extra, that the eyes shouldn't be picking up. Sometimes on the feet, on the bottom, it's even if it's not mamash corrupt, even if it's not mamash gross, nonetheless, the sensitivity of the Kiddusha of the eye is very much threatened on sites such as YouTube, on sites such as Instagram, on sites... What? Rek. That's true, but the point is that it removes the Kiddusha, the purity from a person's eyes. Says the Rabbi, you want to know why the sin of the Mabul, the generation of the Mabul took place? It began in their eyes. Eventually it began in their corruption, in their ways. And eventually it happened that Hashem had to destroy the whole world. But says the Rabbi, why does God need to bring a patop? The Gemara says, and the Midrash says, that God had to remove from the dirt 3 tefachim. He removed that much dirt from the earth. Why? What did the earth do to you? The earth didn't do anything to you. What did the animals do to you? The animals didn't do anything to you. So why are you killing the animals? Animals have no free choice, right? Why are you killing the animals? More than that, it says that it was 15 amot, 15 amot, above cubits. 15 right, 15 amot above the highest mountain. Why do you have to go so high? Says the Rabbi, big secrets over here. He says, you have to know, first of all, why did Noach survive? What was Noach's zechut? He says, Noach had something called chen. You want to know how you get chen? Chen with purity, святостью. Человек, который скромный, человек, который следит за своими глазами, не смотрит туда-сюда, такой человек имеет chen in the eyes of God. There could be a Mabul in the world, you're going to survive. Noach had chen. Who else had chen in the Torah? Правильно вы сказали, tzaddik. The Torah writes Yosef and Noach were tzaddikim, and Noach and Yosef both had chen. The Torah writes, Vayimtza Yosef chen. Yosef had chen. When he saw him, he said, oh, what a guy. No, it doesn't say Moshe had chen. Because Moshe was not in the midah of Yesod. I don't know what that means, Rafi. Moshe was not in the midah of Yesod, and therefore Moshe doesn't have the same chen. Who has chen? Oh, actually, you're right. Wow. The Torah says about Moshe, Ki matzata chen be'ainai. Rabbi is saying good today. Tov. But be that as it may, that Moshe's main mission was not the midah of Yesod. But I tell you, the kiman shepigam dora mabul hayaz bazeh. He says, you want to know why God destroyed the whole world? I want to tell you something. Every person has inside of him Yetzer Hara. Każdy человек имеет в нем Yetzer Hara. Convinces you to do good things, bad things, he bothers you. Says the Rabbi, not only is this Yetzer Hara bothering you, there is an atmosphere. He says, when I do sins, when people do averot, he says the air becomes not pure. The air becomes not pure around you, and when you walk into that air, it has the power to pollute you. You're standing next to somebody in Amidah, and the guy went clubbing yesterday. You better believe you're going to be downloading Wi-Fi from the guy. One time I'm davening Amidah, and again, I take responsibility for myself, and I just, what's going on? Like, ma holech, it's just not going, like, all different machshavot. It's like, and I was chazan that day, and I was just confused, like, what's going on? And I feel something's behind me, and I don't know what it is. So I finished my Amidah. I turned back and said, oh, Toda Rabba, Chazak u'Baruch. But the idea is that our air gets polluted by people, and our air gets influxed by holy energy. Therefore, if you're in a place with holy people, you're going to draw that energia to yourself. If you're in a place of corruption, then the air becomes not pure. The dirt becomes not pure. The animals became impure because of what? Because of the air that they breathed. The animals, it says, Rashi writes that the dogs and cats and donkeys and horses and everything else, all of this pollution and corruption, you want to know why? Because the air was polluted. So when you walk outside in Manhattan, you have to pray to God. Pray. Save me from this air. That I shouldn't become corrupt. Some blocks, you just walk in at Tzaddik, you walk out with different... well, let's see. Now, says the Rabbi, כי ישנם חטאים שמגיעים אליו מחמת שנדבק מאוויר הטמא. There was a rabbi There was a rabbi, Me'afta. His student came to him and said, Rabbi, lately I have big doubts in my emunah. My доверчивость in God, I have a lot of сомнений. Почему у меня так появляется? Я очень высокий level, цадик. Как у меня так появилось? Говорит ему, Rabbi, I want to tell you something. השיב לו שאין זה משלך, these are not your thoughts. אלא שנדבקת מאדם אחר. He says, you got this spiritual disease from another person, הפגום באמונה, who's damaged in אמונה, השוכן בקרבת מקום אליך, who's close to you, he lives right next to you, he's connected to you very much, and you absorb this energy from him. ומחמתו מגיעים אליו, אליך מחשבות מסוג זה, and that's why you have all of these different thoughts. Now says the Rabbi, the air became impure because of the sins of the Dor HaMabul. This is what the Torah says, that Noach didn't let the Tum'ah penetrate him. Why? Because Noach never damaged his Brit Milah. Noach never did Averot. Says the Rabbi that a person who never damaged, such a person has a special immunity. He could walk the streets and the street doesn't bother him. The street doesn't damage him. But a person who was damaged, he has a breach in his system. Even though he was repaired, he did teshuvah. He has to be extra careful not to be in an environment of corruption. So what's the lesson? Says the Rabbi, it all began with these takliyot, with what you see. What they saw was what began their demise. And Noach was the one who protected his eyes. He didn't look left and right. You know, last week's Parashat, we read about Bnei Elohim. We read about last week, в прошлой неделе мы читали, что были ангелы, которые Бог их спустил, сюда в этот мир, и что стало, что описывает нам Тора? Ваиру бивнот хаарец. Они смотрели на женщин. The sin began with Vayiru, with what they saw. From what they saw, everything went down. Now I want to tell you something.
Rabbi, если они не смогли устоять перед этим, а что нам говорить? Вот именно.
I tell you,
bombing up.
No?
Mr. Levy, you are in a big challenge. Your challenge, I don't have. We have different challenges. I'm most of the day in this room downstairs. I don't have the challenges. Your challenge, for whatever reason, is your challenge. And because of that, we have to do soul searching and make sure that we're doing what God expects of us. Yes? What I like about Mr. Levy is there's never a woman around him dancing. Yes? Baruch Hashem. That I never see that by him.
Вопрос. Вот у него был 3 сына, Яфет, Шем и Хам. Я понимаю, почему Хам остался живой, его сын, который издевался над... Почему он остался там? Он же негодяй, он же столько грехов за его сын. Почему ваши его оставили?
Отличный вопрос. How did Ham survive?
И сын его негодяй.
So Ham, когда он зашел, он еще был праведный. Он только когда уже в ковчеге, там он начал делать, там он иткалькел. И еще одна причина, говорят мудрецы, что зихут его папы его спасло. Что Хам был меньше 100 лет, и в то время меньше 100 лет человек не получал наказания. И что из-за этого у него это спасло, это как мальчик меньше бар-мицвы, и что несовершенно, this saved him from onesh, and the zechut of Noach protected his son. And therefore, Ham was also in Kenal, and all of them were able to survive.
Он должен был умереть?
If he did the sin before, he wouldn't come onto the Teva.
Второй вопрос. Ну хорошо, все понятно. Если Ноах был такой святой, на жизнь смотрел, все был кашер, почему его изнасиловал внук его и отрезал все ему?
Это в конце the Torah writes.
Чтобы наследство не делить больше.
The Torah writes. And this is already, when Noach left the Teva, Noach, the Torah wasn't happy with him. One opinion. The Torah wasn't happy with Noach. Why? The Torah writes, Vayachil Noach ish Adama, and what? And he planted a karim. Noach ish Adama, the Torah calls a man of the land. Man of the land. What happened? Noach was tzaddik. Ish Adama. Why? Он вышел с ковчега, что он хочет? Вино пить. Isaac's ram. Он хочет что-то такое... расслабиться, to кайфануть, yes?
На сегодняшний день он был наркоманом.
Но...
Там виноград был такой, что его кушал, как будто вино пил высокоградусное.
И что?
Как только вышел, сразу посадил.
Now, how did Noach survive? It says another thing. Number one, was careful with the eyes. Number 2, says the Rabbi, something very powerful. He says, you want to survive anywhere you go? He says, you have to keep God with you always. If God is always with you and you never lose your sasridatoche to God, to connect to Him, none of the winds around you are going to disturb the Wi-Fi. Иногда the Wi-Fi is не туда. Сегодня у меня что-то Wi-Fi непонятный какой-то, yes? Люди не пришли молиться многие. Один говорит, I overslept, второй говорит, я уехал туда, третий. The point is, the Wi-Fi что-то ловить сложно сегодня, yes? It's okay. We're going to do teshuvah. You got to serve Hashem also like that. But Noach always made sure that the Wi-Fi was connected. He was with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was always thinking Divrei Torah, always thinking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is what the Rambam writes. Hashem likes Arba Amot Shel Halacha. 4 Amot of Jewish law. What does that mean? That when a person is studying Torah, 4 Amot around him, he has a special light that protects him from all the negativity around him. So you can survive wherever you are. If your mind is on God, you can survive anything. This was Noach. He was always with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was always connected to Him with his mind. And therefore no winds were able to take Noach down. The Torah writes, Noach goes with God, he walks with God, he's always with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, Noach was able to maintain his Kiddusha v'Tahara. So I bless everybody that what? May we all be the Kiddushim and Tehorim, may our eyes be pure, may we not be susceptible to Tum'ah, may we be elevated holy, and thereby we're going to have Chen. When you have chen in the eyes of God, no matter what's going on in the world, God will save you. Because you're God's favorite child. And that all begins with the eyes. Rabotai, this connects to what we spoke about downstairs. Downstairs we spoke about the halachot of what you can see when you're praying. Yes, we explained, you want to say bracha, you're on the train. Yeah, the lady in front of you is not modest. Halakha says you cannot say bracha. You're at a wedding. There's 4 on the stage over there. People are confused today. They call these malachei habara. If you look, you're not allowed to say bracha in that area. You have to turn away and say bracha. Yes? Because if the thoughts...
А дома, когда вы Шма Исраэль перед сном читаете, с женой же лежите, она...
No, you don't have to be...
Накрой. Все головы. Выключи.
You look away. Say Shema over there.
Я делаю подушки, потом завожу. Араб руки я делаю, араб спальню делаю, потом завожу.
Chazak.
Как накрою, если recording.
We are recording. One more. Is that sometimes people have a television at home. And sometimes on the television, yes, you have to be careful over there also, that when you're making bracha, you shouldn't be in the direction of a television.
Throw the TV out of the house, Rabbi.
Listen, it's a good start, Rafi. It's a good start. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.